Been an excellent start for the Canes, and that certainly should bring a smile to the face of their first-year general manager, Eric Tulsky, who's nice enough to join us right now. Been with the Canes organization for several years and now taking over as the GM. And I got to ask you something first, Eric. We get ready for these interviews. We try to find stuff out. I read somewhere that you have 27 U.S. patents. Is that true?
That is true, yeah.
Wow. Like, for what?
So a bunch of them are for nanotechnological applications for biotechnology, like medical imaging, DNA sequencing, stuff like that. And then some of them are for batteries for electric vehicles.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Well, I have a Tesla, so you've influenced my life. There you go.
There you go.
You're way too smart to be sitting here with us. But anyway, we do thank you for the time. I do want to ask you, just for fans out there, because you have taken an unconventional path, or at least unconventional to this stage, in becoming a general manager of an NHL team. For fans out there who are watching, for young people who are watching that really love hockey, that like to get involved in it, just give the viewer a little bit of an idea of your path.
Yeah, so I started out working as a chemist, working in these big biotech company, and then a series of startups. And on the side, I had a blog where I was writing about hockey stats.
Wow.
And my work caught on. People paid attention to it. I ended up with a consulting gig here, a consulting gig there. And then the Canes brought me on. I worked part-time for them for a year, and then I've been full-time with them. Wow. This is my 10th year now.
Wow. Now, Eric, to kind of further up on that, clearly you have a very analytical base in terms of your viewpoint. And with that POV, at what point would you say now, how would you kind of grade out the analytical versus the experiential and your eye test and actually being there, boots on the ground as well? How do you kind of combine the numbers, if you will, that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's all really important. And the job of the general manager is to help make sure we have all the information we have and reach a decision that takes everything into account. So the data team provides us with information, the scouts provide us with information, the coaches provide us with information, the development staff provides us with information, and you have to have all that in your head as you decide where you want to go with things.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, because the team is off to a great start, right? They're 8-2 through the first 10 games. Why is the team playing so well? In your view, looking at taking all that information into account, why do you think that your team is off to such a good start?
Yeah, so we had a lot of turnover this year, and it put a lot of pressure on our scouting staff and our pro scouts, led by Mark Craig, the group Trace, Ellen, David, John, EJ. They all worked really hard this year on trying to find players who we thought would fit the way we play. And so everyone can rate players and say who they think is best, but taking that next step of knowing how we play, knowing what Rod needs players to do, and really making sure that when we brought someone in, they were going to look their best for us. They were going to be better for us than they would be somewhere else. Trying to find those players who we're a match for them, they're a match for us, and everyone will be glad we have them. That was really the goal. And, honestly, our scouting team did great at it this year, and I think everybody's stepped in seamlessly.
What area of your game would you quantify as being the most impactful so far for your team?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the pressure that we apply constantly. I mean, that's what changes games for us is, it's a very demanding system that Rod asks players to play, both because you have to work hard and because you have to understand where you need to be. Because when we're applying this much pressure, you need people covering for when things go wrong, because they will go wrong. You can't apply that kind of pressure and not have issues. And he's done a really good job of putting things in place so everybody knows where they need to be and when and how to cover for each other and make sure that we can apply that pressure and not get exposed too often.
Well, one guy who's applying a lot of pressure to opponents is Marty Necas, who is, to me, is one of these guys, when you watch him play, he's electric, and he can be that way. He has that kind of ability, that kind of skill. He's leading your team in points right now. I know you went back and forth in the offseason in terms of getting him signed. What were those negotiations like for you guys? And I guess you got to be thrilled with the way things are working out right now.
Yeah, I mean, he is absolutely dynamic. He's just a true game breaker, especially off the rush with the puck on his stick. There are not many players who can make plays like he can. And, he wanted to have the opportunity to show that, and he wanted to be able to sort of have the kind of impact that he can have. And I think all great players have that, and he's no different. And so we got to a deal that would keep him in town, and also sort of an understanding of what we needed to see from him and what he needed to see from us. And so far, it's been great.
Well, somebody that you should be very, very happy with is a guy that I played with who's one of the best head coaches, not only in the NHL. It's lucky you guys were finally able to re-sign him. Because if he was in another sport, he'd be making a lot more cake. But all that to say, you guys have done a great job of kind of driving the business side of the game down there. Having played there, I see the growth. Obviously, the new arena sponsor and some capital improvements in the arena, some very ambitious plans going forward, and maybe a springboard for that was the Stadium Series game. You guys crushed it there. But take us inside the business of the Canes now and how nice you guys are upwardly trending.
Yeah, no, it's been incredible. We've sold out more than a year in a row, every game. The stadium's packed. Yesterday we had a 5 p.m. weekend game, and I got into the arena at 1 in the afternoon, and the parking lot was full with tailgaters. It's just there's a real vibe here that the fans are showing up and they're having a good time. And you referenced this development project. Like, we're going to be building out the stadium, putting sort of more nice spaces in, also building out the area around the arena and making it so that there's hotels and restaurants and office space and residential areas, and making it into a place to go and place people want to come hang out and go to a game.
Eric, I got a former Carolina Hurricanes goalie here sitting next to me, so I want to ask about goaltending because, Freddie Anderson off to a great start, then he gets hurt, so he's week to week apparently. Kochetkov's a good young goalie. He's getting an opportunity, and we like what we see from Kochetkov. But I wanted to, give me your overview on goaltending because, that's something that I've heard about in the past. I don't think we've had an opportunity to have you on. And goaltending is one of those things, right? People have different feelings on it. Each team probably has different values on it. At the end of the day, if you don't have it, you're probably not winning. But give me your thoughts on goaltending from the 35,000 feet when you're thinking about what kind of emphasis you need to place on it for your particular team.
No, you're right. Goaltending is incredibly important. And if you don't have a good goalie, the team's going to have a hard time, right? Like, the goalies have to make saves sometimes, no matter how good the D is. Yeah. And we've been fortunate. We have a couple of really solid goalies. And like you said, Freddie's been incredible to start the year. Piotr's also an outstanding talent. He's been really good. I think it's just a matter of time before he takes over and has a long career for us. So we're in a good situation. We're happy with both of them. And, we also have a lot of trust in Spencer Martin. And, he's up with us right now, too. And I'm sure he'll get some games here. And, I don't expect we'll miss a beat. I think we're very comfortable with all three of them.
Eric, I was just with the folks at Sportico doing the NHL valuations in New York City a couple of days ago here. And the Canes had a huge year in terms of appreciation and franchise value last year. Another big year this year, a big leap forward. But I go back to, I want to revisit the success that was the Stadium Series game at Carter Finley Stadium down there. I knew that you guys would knock it out of the park. I don't necessarily know that everybody else did. But you guys showed, and you guys did. Is that something that you guys will continue to lobby for going forward, to host some other events? We know that the draft has been hosted there before, All-Star Game when I first started broadcasting, but that was a real signature event. Is that something that you guys are rallying Commissioner Bettman to try to host more of?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. It was an incredible event. And, like I said, we have tailgating culture here for, ordinary games. And so when you make it a premium event and, have 60,000 people instead of 18, you're right, knocked it out of the park. It was just great. They did a great job of integrating NC State and bringing their culture and their fans in. And, it was a fantastic event. And, yeah, we absolutely want to do more of them.
All right. Well, listen, Eric, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it. Canes are off to a great start. And you certainly raised the IQ level on this show by about 2,000,000%. So we really appreciate your time today. And good luck as we're moving forward. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a good time.